Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. Today I wanted to do another Wainwright Shortlist review, and I'm going to talk about Hidden Nature, A Voyage of Discovery by Alys Fowler. This book was published in 2017 by Hatter and Stoughton, and it is a memoir about Alys Fowler discovering Birmingham through its canal network. So she decides to get a boat and discover a lot of the hidden nature of the city that she is so familiar with. So the reasons that she decides to take up this new thing in her life is because she is dealing with a lot of things that is changing in her life, and discovering and sort of taking up this paddling through the water lines and seeing a lot of nature that is hidden away and prosperous in very unexpected spaces is sort of a way of grounding her. So the book is, as I said, a memoir, but it is also nature writing, and in some ways it's also travel writing, because she is moving through the city, through the canals, exploring the city as well with new eyes, seeing new things in an otherwise familiar environment. The nature aspect of the book is coming through looking at sort of the nature next door, hidden in the nooks and crannies of the towpath and under bridges and through the tunnels. A lot of life forms are surviving in very urban spaces, and that is definitely a theme throughout the nature writing of the book. How life forms can survive and prosper even when human activity is making it very hard for a lot of species to flourish. There are a lot of examples in this book of species that have developed to make the most of the nature that is around them. The book is also a memoir of Alys Fowler coming out as gay. She falls in love with a woman, and she decides to speak out about herself. She's been married for a long time, and so her coming out has a lot of results in other forms, like ending her marriage, the couple having to come to terms with this change in their lifestyle, dividing up their belongings, sort of emptying the home, also coming to terms with all of these changes. Emotionally, she has a really hard time to adjust to not just how her relationships with other people, her friends and her family and her new partner and her former husband, how she views herself in a sort of battle with herself and her past, and trying to put together her past self and her future self. The book's subtitle is A Voyage and Discovery, which is a way to describe both her memoir part of the book and the nature writing part of the book. Discovering the places that are part of the larger framework of something that you're familiar with, but seeing hidden parts in it, stopping to notice the details, and finding joy in that as well. The form of the book follows this trajectory of a discovery. So she is paddling through the canals and sees something in her immediate environment, and she talks about it and goes into detail and sort of a tangent on it, and then goes back to the main story. And so because of that, there's a lot of like side branches to the story, and it doesn't always take a very orderly fashion. And the same could be said for her memoir. She is a lot of the time going in circles and going forwards and going backwards, and you can tell that she's quite confused about how to feel about the things that are happening. She's unsure of a lot of things, and it feels like she's quite close still to the things that are happening in the book while she is writing them. So because of that, there's lacking a bit of the retrospective that I think would have given the overall structure of the book more of a cohesive feel. The memoir and the nature parts don't always feel like they come together. One of my favorite parts of the book is how she views herself in nature. So she talks about seeing parts of wildlife that seems that they have never been disturbed, and so she is curious about these life forms and she wants to study them and get close, but she ends up deciding that she doesn't want to disturb these places that are so wild and so free, because of her curiosity. And I think a lot of the time she comes back to this idea of humans being curious about the world around them and other species, there being a fine balance between curiosity and going too far, being invasive. And she talks about these things in very interesting ways and very relatable ways, I think, for me at least, as someone who has always been really drawn to the nature around them. Sort of finding that balance of being curious and studying the world around you, but not stepping over the boundaries, respecting other life forms and places that you have no place in. I will say that there are parts of the book that, especially the parts that are connecting the memoir with the nature writing, that are slightly too sentimental for my taste. So she will talk about finding her path, finding herself. You can already see these things indirectly through the rest of the book, and that they make a stronger impact rather than having it said plainly. So that is the only thing towards the end that sort of dried this down a little bit. But I did really like a lot of her observations, and parts of her writing were really beautiful. If you've read this book, I would love to hear your thoughts about it. Have you read any of the Wainwright books yet, and what did you think about them? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I hope you're having a really good day, and I will talk to you soon.